Hi, I'm Patrick Dunnican. At Gibbons, we believe that citizens need to be informed about the complex issues that affect their lives. That's why we're proud to support the programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons PC, Johnson & Johnson, Englewood Health, Suez, water solutions to meet tomorrow's environmental challenges, NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 college savings plan. Turn a dream into a degree. And by New Jersey Council of County Colleges. Promotional support provided by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and by Insider NJ.
Welcome to State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. We are coming to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio in beautiful Newark, New Jersey. It is my honor and pleasure to once again welcome Greg Lalevee, who is Business Manager, International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, which has how many members?
7,100.
Tell everyone what you guys do.
We're the men and women who operate and maintain heavy construction equipment, cranes, bulldozers, build roads, build bridges, build buildings, all kinds of infrastructure projects.
Greg, you've been with us many times talking about infrastructure, jobs, the economy, transportation. Can we go right to the Gateway Tunnel? We had Cory Booker, Senator Cory Booker, United States Senator Cory Booker, sitting right here yesterday, taping yesterday. He said if this tunnel is not built, the Gateway Tunnel, it is devastating, not just for New Jersey and New York, but for the Northeast corridor in the nation, you say?
Absolutely true. 10% of the U.S. GDP relies on transit between New Jersey and New York. So if we don't get this program done, that's the risk we're taking.
What stands in the way? Because I thought that during the Obama administration, dollars have been set aside to do this. What has happened?
Well, President Trump came in and said that there was no deal in place.
Because it was Obama's deal, not his deal?
I don't know the reason why, but he said there was nothing in writing, so in his mind there was no deal. So at the end of the day, I think we have to get all sides to come together and figure out what they will do so that we can get this thing done.
So people can understand, Greg, why this is not an inside the beltway, if you will, Washington, or even a State House issue, that it affects everyone. Help people really understand that. Transportation, jobs, the economy.
Well, we have to keep people moving, keep goods and services moving. If the Gateway program in its totality were to be built, we're talking about the possibility of having freight rail into New York City, which would take trucks off the road. It's a big mobility issue, which is lost productivity. If we lost the trains totally, there'd be an estimated $100 million a day in lost productivity.
Let me give you another example. Say one of the tunnels has to be, quote unquote, shut down for repair. What happens?
We lose 3/4 of our train capacity, from 24 trains an hour to 6 trains an hour. It's devastating.
How are people then going to get back and forth to New York City?
Right now, we move 450 trains per day between Newark and New York, 200,000 passengers. So if you took 3/4 of them and had to put them in their cars on the road, with the current traffic situation we have, it would be bedlam.
Okay, so the Murphy administration, as we speak, we're doing this literally a few days before the budget is supposed to be struck on the last day of June. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if the government's going to be shut down. Cross our fingers, but that's not actually a plan. How does what happens in the State House around these budget negotiations impact you and those, your members, and the larger transportation issues that matter in the state?
Well, first, Governor Murphy made a very big, strong move by ordering transit to put up money for the Portal Bridge project.
You mean when we say transit, you mean New Jersey Transit?
New Jersey Transit.
Which is it, or is it not a state agency?
I believe it is.
Is it some so-called a quasi-state agency, which means the governor appoints the people, I believe, who are commissioners, but they're supposedly independent. But the reality is, if he dedicates the state dollars to New Jersey Transit, does that have to get approved in the budget?
I don't believe it does, no.
Okay, so what's at stake here with transit?
Well, with transit financing the project, Governor Murphy's put a big marker out on the table. Secretary Chow, the U.S. Department of Transportation, has always said New York and New Jersey need skin in the game for the Gateway program in general. Portal Bridge is part of the Gateway program, so Governor Murphy, I think, is putting down.
Where's Portal Bridge? Where is that?
In Kearney, through over the Hackensack River.
You know, put this in larger perspective. We've had many conversations before. Greg and his colleagues they're actually one of the underwriters of what we do here on the Caucus Educational Corporation. And frankly, we're dedicated to trying to help people understand the larger transportation infrastructure issues. Bridges. Could you give me a percentage? I know the DOT, the Department of Transportation, looks at this. What percentage of our bridges are either crumbling, falling apart, or we don't know when they could go? And I'm not trying to be an alarmist here, but they're real numbers from engineers.
Yeah, and it's probably somewhere around a third are structurally deficient or functionally obsolete. Functionally obsolete being that it's carrying traffic that it was not originally engineered to carry. It's a reflection of our population growth and the added traffic on the roads.
How about the roads? How bad?
They could do with a lot of improvement. There's a lot of choke points. We all know where traffic builds up every day. I live in Somerset County. If you don't get to the confluence of 78 and 287 before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll be sitting in a pretty long traffic line that goes back to Watchung.
Greg, you know what's so interesting? There's always a crisis going on in New Jersey. The question is, why is transportation, combined with bridges, roads, and the disrepair, the crumbling, the falling apart, why is this not a crisis until some horrific thing happens? You remember the Mianis Bridge not too long ago in another state. It happens, middle of the night, it collapses. People in those cars fall into the river and they die. I don't, again, want to be an alarmist, but is that what it takes?
Unfortunately, it seems to be what it takes. And the real problem with it is, talking about Gateway again, you referred to possibly losing one tunnel. If we lose that on a timeline that we don't control with engineering, thought, planning, and construction, then we have to do it under duress, which is more expensive, and all kinds of the cataclysm of not having planned it all out.
And then will people then turn around and say, hey, why didn't the government do something about this?
Absolutely.
To what degree? Listen, I know you lobby in the appropriate way, and you deal with state officials, the legislative side, the regulatory side, the executive branch. To what degree do you think most of our leaders in government, Democrats and Republicans, understand the crisis this really is?
Well, 2 years ago, insofar as the state goes, when they fixed the Transportation Trust Fund.
I mean, put money in the Transportation Trust Fund for
Yes.
long-term transportation projects. Go ahead.
And
with the gas tax.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And set forth an 8-year capital plan. So Governor Christie and the legislators at that time, I believe, acknowledged what the problem was and took steps toward correcting it.
Do you believe Governor Murphy and his team understand and are committed to these issues as well?
I believe so, yes. He campaigned on infrastructure very heavily.
Greg Lalevee is a business manager with the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825. People can go on your website and find out. Do you know the website? I'm putting you on the spot. You know
Sure. Oh, yeah. It's www.iuoe825.org.
Hold on. Do that again. IUOE.
825.org.
Greg, thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
Steve.
all of us.
All right.
Be safe on
Thank
the roads,
you.
everyone. This is State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. We will be right back. You're probably in traffic.
To see more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at stateofaffairsnj.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
State of Affairs is pleased to welcome our good friend, Senator Tom Kean Jr., Republican leader in the Senate. How you doing, Senator?
It's great. It's great to see you again, Steve.
Good to have you. Senator, put things in perspective for us. A few days after, when this shows, it'll be a couple weeks, legalized sports betting means what in New Jersey?
I think it's positive. It's revenue. It's new energy. I think it's good. Obviously, something that brings people together and I think it's going to be positive for the state.
You're not concerned about some of those who say, you know what, we are promoting gambling, and those who may have a problem get sucked into it, and that's the state's responsibility.
Well, we always need to be protective of the downside. And my hope would be some of the revenue that we use will be used for some of those addiction and other related problems. That happens in any venue. But the goal is here is say, legalize what's already happening across the country, make it a regulated industry, and then also protect people on the downside who may have a gambling addiction.
It's interesting. This is bipartisan, isn't it?
It was strongly bipartisan.
And that's rare in the State House. You see the dome behind you. That is rare.
Well, actually, it should be more common. I mean, there are things that I think we can find common ground on ways to make the state more affordable, make sure people can go to school in the state of New Jersey, make sure people can afford to live here. I mean, what should be our common goal is 3 generations of families live in the state of New Jersey. And there are ways we can get there on real and substantive policies, but when people look at Trenton right now, they say, who's racing to increase taxes? You've got a Senate president that wants to have the highest corporate tax in the country, Steve Sweeney. You have a governor who wants to have the highest income tax in the country. And at a time when New Jersey is saying, we want to attract people like Amazon, we want to attract millennials, we want to attract people who are going to be, the wonderful citizens of New Jersey, that's sending the very wrong message. So unfortunately, the Democratic majority is focused on increasing taxes. The Senate Republicans and others are saying, how do we constrain costs? I mean, can you imagine a state where people are saying our property taxes are affordable? Their educational opportunities, not only in the K through 12, but the higher education sphere as well. That's actually affordable and it's achievable
in many cases.
And if you can say, okay, I'm going to get my first job out of college in New Jersey. I'm going to get my second job in New Jersey.
And stay in New Jersey?
And stay in New Jersey. And I'm going to, and then I'm going to retire in New Jersey. Because think about this. The one thing people are talking about is they're saying right now, in 5 years, I'm leaving the state of New Jersey. Too many people are saying that. And the more people say
because it's unaffordable?
Because it's unaffordable. And so what they're saying is, if they change that state in 10 years, I'm going to give the state a chance, that means they're not moving to Pennsylvania. Because people moving to Pennsylvania.
Or Florida.
Not to the weather. No, they're not moving to Florida.
What do you mean they're not moving? There's no income tax there.
That's true. But most people are moving to Pennsylvania or New York State.
Because of a lower income tax?
Because of the lower tax rate overall.
Okay.
And they don't tax retirement incomes, there are a variety of things like that. So you have people who are doing that at all ages.
But Senator,
if you look at great companies like J&J.
What does J&J have to do with it?
Well, think about this. Half of their employees, 8,000 are in New Jersey, half are in Pennsylvania. The current CEO, last 2 CEOs are Pennsylvania residents.
A company in New Brunswick?
Yes, has half of its employees.
J&J happens to be one of our underwriters.
And it's a great company.
It is a great company.
But half of its employees are in Pennsylvania. So what we have to do is this. Rather than send the signal out of Trenton, whether it's Senate President Sweeney or Governor Murphy who's saying, let's increase spending, let's first have the conversation on how do you reduce costs? And there are ways we can reduce costs on the citizens of New Jersey very quickly, very responsibly. If you focus on ways we can have a real conversation on pension and health benefits reforms, you could save billions of dollars.
We're speaking with State Senator Tom Kean. He is, in fact, the leader of the Senate for the Republicans. Let's do this. Steve Adubato here, and the question is, you talked about the pension situation. Mm-hmm. We could save money if we did what with the pension? Didn't you guys do that in 2011 with Governor Christie, together with the Democrats in the legislature? You were involved as well. You cut benefits. You changed all kinds of things about the public employee pension situation. Now it's still in an $80+ billion hole. What didn't you do right?
Actually, it was 1/3 of the Democrats joined us.
Okay,
every
but
Republican
Senator,
hopped on board.
respectfully,
So
it
what we
would
need
have
to do
happened
now,
if you hadn't had everyone together.
Now what we need to do, we had strong bipartisan support.
Yes,
so what
you
we
did,
have
including
now,
the Senate President, Steve Sweeney,
who was a leader in that fight and continues to talk about it because he was a leader at the time and since. But now what we need to do is look at the next generation. Right now we've got to look at the health and pension issues. And folks say, right now Obama said on the Cadillac tax for health care, for example.
You're saying public employees should no longer get what you're calling a Cadillac health care plan.
President Obama called it a Cadillac health care plan.
What should we be doing?
It's $36,000. If we reduce it to the highest, like the equivalent of the highest corporate rate in the state, in that type of benefit level, you could save, according to Tom Byrne and Healy,
who headed up the pension commission.
Yes, you could save $1.4 billion a year on the state level. Now, if you look at this on the municipal and the county level and the school board level, it'd be an additional $2.5 billion in savings. So you'd be able to follow through responsibly. While you'd meet all of your obligations
but won't you be hurting
and all
public
your
employees who are not overpaid as it is?
You would actually be able, we can find common ground in this area. We found common ground in the past on a bipartisan basis. We can find common ground here. Everybody from Republicans and Democrats alike want to say, if you focus on those individuals, we've got to honor the obligations to those employees, honor the obligations of taxpayers, because at the end of the day, they would have what would happen here is they would be able to spend less on a daily basis for their own health care. So it'd be more affordable for the taxpayers as well as the employees. It'd be a responsible approach that I think we can have strong bipartisan support on going forward, and it'd be billions of dollars responsible.
Do this, Senator. By the way, with Senator Tom, Kean, Steve Adubato here, I just want to ask you this real quick. Higher education, there was a study that was done. Give me a minute or less on affordability issue and what we found.
Right. Well, what we have to figure out, why are students leaving the state of
That's
New
the
Jersey?
brain drain.
It's brain drain. What kind of advice are they getting from their high school guidance counselors when they're looking at their career choices? What kind of pressures are happening at home? What do we need to do to say we've got great high schools, great higher education plans, but there's no plan. We've not updated the college, how we spend money on colleges from the state level since Rutgers became the state university in the 60s. So what we've got to say is, how do we refocus the purpose, have a strategic mission, and find common ground to say, we got to make high school and people graduate from high school, college, or career ready. We've got to have colleges that are affordable and have meaningful degrees that can translate into jobs. We've got to have a partnership between everybody from higher education to government to industry to nonprofits. We can do that together, and we can have a situation where more than 3 generations of New Jerseyans stay in New Jersey, as opposed to...
Because we lose them, we lose that tax revenue and everything else.
But we also lose the families. It's not just the tax revenues. Think about this. People are on the planes more frequently now than they've ever been before. Think about what that does to the time you spend with your family. Think about the people on Father's Day who missed it because their parents are in Florida or in Pennsylvania. Think about the kids that had to do a phone call
because of
or
economic
Skype.
reasons,
Because of economic reasons. And the family impact on that. Think about the strength of the families and the state. That's what gets the pride in the state.
One more quick item, Senator. I want to ask you about the quality of water. You're concerned deeply about this, particularly water quality in urban schools. Go.
Yes. We need to do everything we can to make sure that the lead is not getting into those schools.
But how is lead getting into the water in those pipes?
They're all pipes. We need to focus on how do we, the infrastructure that's going to be a conversation I think the legislature is going to have now. How is how is the lead, solder that's in the pipes, how is that seeping through, and what's an affordable, responsible solution? We've got the lessons to learn from Flint, Michigan. There's lessons to learn from across the country.
Could we have that again? Could we have Flint in New Jersey?
I think we've got to do everything we can to make sure we've got to have the safe drinking water throughout New Jersey.
This is State Senator Tom Kean, who has been the Republican leader for a few years?
Yes.
How many?
Going on 12.
Does it feel longer? Senator Tom Kean's in the House. This is State of Affairs. I'm Steve Adubato. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll be back after this.
To see more State of Affairs with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at stateofaffairsnj.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We're pleased to welcome Dennis Drazin, who is the CEO of Monmouth Park Racetrack in New Jersey, one of the most beautiful tracks in the nation.
It is. Thank you.
Because?
It's a jewel of racing.
It really is.
It is.
It's gorgeous. And I was just saying, full disclosure, my family's been there many times. Not that we bet, we just, that's a joke. Listen, legalize sports betting. As we do this program toward the end of June, it happened. I saw Governor Murphy. He was the one who placed, I believe, the first bet.
He was. He came down on Thursday. He placed the first bets. He bet Germany to win the World Cup.
Yes, he did.
And the Devils to win the Stanley Cup.
How many people did you have on Father's Day?
Father's Day, we had 23,700 people all clamoring to come bet racing, enjoy our park, and bet sports betting.
Dennis, break this down for us. I mean, you were telling me before we got on the air that you and your colleagues have been planning for legalized sports betting in Jersey since 2013.
Yeah, we started the first renovation 2013. We've actually been in this fight with the leagues for over 6 years.
Professional sports leagues.
Correct. And we first built out the William Hill Sports Bar in 2013. We got stopped again in 2014 with an injunction from the leagues. And then after the Supreme Court arguments on December 4th, I was pretty certain we were going to win. And so we went ahead and spent additional money, another $1.5 million, to renovate our grandstand to be ready for opening day. And, we're into it for $5 million now between renovations, legal fees, and the struggle. But biggest bet I ever made, and we won. We're ready to do sports betting at Monmouth Park, and it was well received. The first 4 days of business was terrific. And I think it's really going to make a difference. It's going to bring people back to racetracks and casinos. It's going to make us healthy again. State of New Jersey is going to get a good tax revenue from all this. And it's really, you have to look at it for the big picture. This was a huge victory for states' rights in this country.
Why states' rights?
Well, the Supreme Court, when they looked at the
United
issues,
States Supreme
United
Court.
States Supreme Court, when they looked at the issues of 10th Amendment, federalism, states' rights, they ultimately decided that the states' rights issue prevailed, that the federal government can't enact the law that prevents the states from controlling their
Except
own
for a
destiny.
couple states, they said it was okay.
At that time, there were 4 states that were grandfathered.
Yeah.
But putting that aside,
Right.
what really happened is this is a $400 billion illegal market in this country, sports betting. Offshore, bookies, crime family ties. And while we won't get all of that business, this country is now going to see a large part of that market shift over to legal, regulated.
And tax revenues.
And tax revenues.
I don't want to make
for
a
the
case
country.
for you guys. It's already done. But there will be significant tax revenues. Governor Murphy actually sat here on this set at NJTV studio in Newark before he was governor and talked about why he thought it was a good idea. But I'm going to also ask you this, devil's advocate question. Someone said, you know what, this legalized sports betting thing may get some folks involved in gambling that may otherwise not and could cause problems, you say?
Well, I think those people, you know, that may get over their head, if that's what you're asking about.
It's said about the lottery as well, but go ahead.
We're very focused on the problem gambling aspect of this. There's not one ad that we can put out there that doesn't send the message, if you or anybody that you know has a problem with gambling, here's the 1-800 number to call. You're supposed to be betting with your heads, not just with your hearts. So we're very focused on trying to protect that aspect of our public. But I think right now, if people are out there betting illegally, they've got that problem anyway that they need to overcome. So, you know, with us, you're betting in a legal, safe environment. If you go to a bookie, you get in over your head, you got problems.
Here's a question about the professional sports teams. You said to me before we got on the air that this so-called integrity fee, I believe the NFL, some other professional leagues were saying, you owe us. You should give us a quote-unquote integrity fee. They went to court to argue this, Dennis, that we should get a cut of what you make from legalized sports betting. Dead issue, A. B, what the heck are we talking about?
So it's a dead issue, but, you know, we were in this battle for over 6 years. The leagues at any point, the professional sports leagues, could have come to New Jersey, worked out a revenue share, worked out a resolution that would have been good for everybody. Instead, we spent $10 million in legal fees. We won the battle. We went to court, and now they come up and they go to Trenton.
After they lost?
After they lost, they come to Trenton with their lobbyists, and they walk into legislators and to the governor, and they say, hey, we want an integrity fee. Now, if you step back from that, what that means is they're saying that in a legalized, regulated environment, we need more money to preserve integrity. Does that mean they were looking the other way, knowing this is a $400 billion industry for the past 30 years, and they did nothing to preserve integrity? I don't think so. I think they did their job trying to preserve integrity. And to come to New Jersey and now look for a revenue share is just inappropriate. So the Senate president was very strong.
Steve Sweeney.
Steve Sweeney.
He said no.
He said, what do you get in Vegas? Nothing. You're going to get the same in New Jersey. The speaker again.
Speaker Coughlin. Nothing.
Gave nothing. Governor ultimately signed a bill that gave them nothing. Now, they're out there around the country.
No, they're pushing.
Trying to get this integrity fee, but it's just not justified. If you look at all of the leagues, they have their issues. There are many problems when you look at integrity. For example, you have a number of games that I could rattle off where the public believes that the refs got it wrong at the end of the game. Take the Cavaliers-Pacer game. Take the Golden State
NBA
Cleveland
Finals.
game.
By the way, if you're listening to us right now or watching us, this is Dennis Drazin, who is the CEO of Monmouth Park Racetrack. They were really the first down at the Jersey Shore, Long Branch, if I'm not mistaken.
Oceanport.
Oceanport, excuse me, down Route 34, to make this happen. You were set up for it. Make your case about the NBA Finals. What's the point there?
So the point is, you know, there are a lot of people who think the refs got it wrong, and the refs make their rulings, and then, like in some of these games, the leagues come out the next day, say, yeah, refs blew it. And the leagues then are in a position where their own referees blew a call that made a significant difference in the game. So we're not out there saying, because you guys blew it, you need to pay off all these bettors. Besides that, like Mark Cuban of the Dallas Mavericks, he came out the next day after the decision, said every one of our franchises is now worth double what they were worth yesterday.
Because of legalized sports betting?
Because of legalized sports betting. I mean, how many people would watch some of these games if they didn't have some action? So we've really increased their viewership.
Action meaning a bet.
A bet.
Got a few seconds left. You're excited about the future?
I'm very excited. You know, we had great results at Monmouth Park. Our first few days when you don't have NFL,
right,
football season, which is your biggest time, have been super. The bettors are coming in, they're watching, they're wagering, and they're staying engaged not only in sports betting, but in the community. They're spending money in restaurants, sure, they're coming to the track, tourism is up. We showed significant increases. We were up on Father's Day by 28% on our attendance, 18% on our live product. This is going to be a win-win for New Jersey, the racetrack, the casinos, and everyone involved.
Thank you, Dennis. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Check you out next time on State of Affairs. Thank you, Dennis.
Good to see you.
That was well done.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Varus and JTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons, P.C., Johnson & Johnson, Englewood Health, Suez, N.J. Best, New Jersey Council of County Colleges. And by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State. And by Employers Association of New Jersey.
What is your child's dream for the future? Doctor? Teacher? Architect? Whatever they aspire to be, a college education may realize those dreams. And NJ Best can help. It's the college savings plan specifically designed for New Jersey families. Start saving today with as little as $25, because now is the time to invest in their future. To learn about NJ Best 529 College Savings Plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the Investor Handbook available at njbest.com.